Hi, I'm Vareen, a curious explorer of the intricate landscape of the human mind and behaviors, and you're now listening to the Ink Thoughts podcast, where I unravel the mysteries behind the incongruous thoughts that pepper our everyday existence. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Ink Thoughts podcast. Hope everyone has been doing well. So I believe this episode will be uploaded by the last weekend of 2024. So I thought why not take this opportunity to reflect on my past year, things that I've learned and how I think I've grown as a person. And you know what? Let's do an interactive episode today. As in, if you do have a few minutes to spare, let's pause the video or audio that you're watching or listening to and reflect on these questions together with me. So now let's get started. The first question would be, if I have to describe the year in one word, what would it be? I'll say strength. What I meant was the inner strength. I never really thought of what had happened throughout the year of 2024 as very, very bad. I guess it might be me generally don't tend to see things very negatively. I'll say I usually see things relatively quite positive. However, when I look back at what I've gone through, I wish I could give myself that time who was going through all the hardships a hug. I know that everyone has their own challenges to navigate, and so do I. It's just that I could see how much I struggled during the most difficult time, but still chose to be strong and face the challenges. There are definitely times that I break down, but I managed to pull through it, which I'm glad I did, and I'm proud of myself. So throughout the year, there were lots of ups and downs. Probably the most that I've been through all at once in the past 25 years of my life. My health, my career, my relationship, and while living abroad by myself. You just have so much to juggle and you don't even know what the uncertainties might be. There's just so much of uncertainties that you can't even figure out. You're just clueless. But you just have to face it with an open heart sometimes. Some of the things might seem unsolvable at that moment, and you know that continue worrying about it wouldn't help, and there was nothing else you could do. You've exhausted everything that you could do. During these times, shifting your attention to something else is helpful. That doesn't mean to avoid the problems, but to make sure that you're taking of your own well-being too. And usually after some time, you could come back to the same question with a fresher eye to work it out again. Just remember, don't beat yourself up in this journey. Now, question number 2. What lessons were learned? First important one I'll say is that I've learned to remember to be me. Although I have to admit that I'm still in the journey of finding myself, but I could see that I'm not blindly following anyone's say in becoming a certain type of person anymore. I'm taking into account my own thoughts, what I want to do, or who I want to be. People can comment on whatever they want to, but whether to accept it or not is my business. Of course, I have to thank quite a few people around me who kept reminding me that I'm good enough as a person, as myself. And I do realize that there was a long period of time that I wasn't appreciating some good traits that I have. I'm not the best, of course, and there are definitely a lot of room for improvements. But that doesn't mean that I have no good traits that is worth appreciating. And once I noticed this and try to appreciate myself more, I could see me using these traits to a better level too that I'm really happy with. And next lesson would be, there are a lot of ways to live a life. There's no right or wrong, but ultimately it's down to what you want. So understand yourself is the first step. Don't feel bad because you're not trying to live a life that the society said you should. If you think that's what you want, and you're responsible for yourself for that, then go ahead. I would say there is a balance of doing whatever you want and not affecting others. It is none of anyone's business but yours on what you want to achieve in life or who you want to be and how you want to live your life. So work out what your priorities are and prioritize them. If something matters enough to you, you know you have to do something to protect them or to gain what you want. And then it would be the extension of knowing your priorities and prioritize them. So now that you know what you want, be mindful and live in the present when doing things. You will find things being generally more interesting and enjoyable. Trust me. We were all told to practice mindfulness, but how many of us are really doing it? We always think that there will be a next time. We can always do that again next time. But you will never know when would be the last time. And to be honest, the moment that you have is now. Past and future are just a concept that you can't see or touch. But you have the now, which is the most important bit. Putting the focus onto the current moment is probably a wiser choice. I have to admit that there are still a lot of rooms for improvement for me in getting better at being mindful and live in the moment, but try to make that a habit. And when you're doing this, you're more likely to get into the flow, which a lot of the time would multiply the happiness and your productivity. Moving on to the next question. What were the things that I've accomplished which I'm proud of myself? I'll say I'm really glad that I managed to do a few solo trips. I mean, they weren't supposed to be solo trips, but mm, things just happen. You just have to adapt and be flexible and do whatever you need to or you want to. And I'm really glad that I still go on with those trips. I was talking to my closest friend from high school about how I was saying I can't even eat alone in public when people are in groups when I was in high school. And now, you know what? I'm traveling solo in a foreign country, walking on the street of a place I've never been to, and even live in a foreign country. You just grow, and I'm glad I did. Another thing is, I've picked up tennis, continued to boulder and run. One of my friends was telling me that I'm very active and where does all my energy come from to support myself in doing all this after, work, which most of the time makes us so tired and was so done with the day. I have to say, there were times that I feel really tired and I really need a break. And I do give myself those breaks when I need to. And that's one thing that I've learned as well, to make sure that, you know, balance the rest and the productivity. Yeah. And I guess my motivation of doing all this comes from I didn't want to lose my progress, which took time and effort to build, or rather maintain them, and I enjoy doing them too when I do it. And I like myself when I'm doing it. Although I'm not very good at it yet, but I'm progressing. Yeah, and on top of that, I want myself to be healthy. Yeah. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. What are the grateful things that I truly appreciated? I have to say, I'm really grateful for people around me who have been treating me really nicely. Living abroad is not easy. I guess people who are living abroad now or had the experiences of living abroad would agree to it. But what makes it so much better is having people around you who you could connect with. I have to thank my friends around me who always think of me and make sure to check in with me from time to time. And also my supportive and kind colleagues that really make work even more fun on top of being meaningful. I'm also really happy and grateful that I have my family and close friends back at home who always have my back. I just know that they're always there for me when I need them the most, which I'm really thankful for. And having the opportunity to work abroad and see things from different perspectives, that doesn't only expand my knowledge but also the way that I think. I believe thinking is a very important skill or ability that a human has. It is fine to have different thoughts, but being able to think and learn how to think is important. And I'm really grateful for myself that after all the hardships, I'm still able to see things from a positive lens. I like to see myself and people around me laughing and smiling and spreading positivity and some warmth if I could. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you do get the chance to, mm, think about all these questions and reflect on your experiences and can see how far you've come to. Yeah. And please do comment down below and share with me some of your answers if you're comfortable with. Yeah. If you do enjoy today's episode, feel free to share with your friends or families who, you know, you think might benefit from this, and I'll see you guys next year then. Yeah, wishing everyone a happy new year. Goodbye. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed it, do like and share it with your friends and family, and drop me a comment on YouTube. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a review. If you're on Spotify, please rate my show. Alternatively, any questions or feedback, feel free to email me at hello@incthoughts.com or send me a private message on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter with the username of IncThoughtspod. Thanks again, and catch you all next week.